Hello, this is Kian from Football Obsession. Today I've got Chris with me. How are you, Chris?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I've just been to the gym. I've had a very productive day, had a driving lesson, and we're also doing a podcast today as well.
All right, mad.
Yeah. Today we're going to be sort of reviewing like the game week 3, Premier League game week 3, as we have been for the past few weeks. Since the Premier League season started, and it's been a very interesting game week to say the least. There's been a lot of goals. There's been a few tough decisions. There's been a decision which I sort of want to get into as well, which may have gone sort of under the radar.
Okay.
So we're just going to get straight into it. Did you watch the Manchester City versus Arsenal match?
I did not, because it was early for me in the morning, but I saw the goals and Jesus Lord is all I have to say.
Yeah, I actually said, I was just saying to you before we went live, I said that I would do a 24-hour live stream of Arsenal beat Manchester City, and obviously there was no chance of it happening, hence why it was such an extreme thing to happen. And it was obviously, I don't know where the hope comes from if you're an Arsenal fan. So, like for me, I'm looking at that and saying, obviously they're going to win against Norwich after the international break. But
are they?
You never know. You never know. They've not even scored a goal in the league yet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I don't know where it's going to come from. But
it's very strange to me how they've spent £150 million and we've spent around the same amount of money, and they've not managed to improve their team much, if at all, in my opinion. So we'll go through the signings here. So Ramsdale, do you think he improves their team?
No, he doesn't.
No,
because Ramsdale has had 2 consecutive relegations on his CV.
Yeah.
And in only one of those seasons, he was half decent.
Yeah, I agree.
He's not a better goalkeeper than Leno, I don't think. As much as Arsenal fans slander him, I don't think he's better than Leno.
No, I think Leno's a decent keeper. I don't think he's anything special, but I think he's decent.
Right.
And then they bought Albert Sambilakonga, it is, from the Belgian league, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
And that was, I think they bought him for like 25-30 million. And like he's starting, he looked all right. Surprisingly, he looks better than Thomas Partey has in most games last season. But it's been a very it's a very interesting signing, that, because it's a position that they didn't need. Again, with the goalkeeper, they didn't need a backup goalkeeper really, or even to buy Ramsdale for £30 million. So do you think he improved that team?
Lokonga, believe it or not, from what I've seen of him, I think he seems a bit more grounded than Xhaka is nowadays. I mean, he's less rash from what I've seen. I didn't watch him in the Belgian league, but Xhaka, I think they needed a midfielder, because I don't know, Xhaka, he can pass the ball, I guess, and he has good technique, but he's rash and he'll get a red card. So I think Lokonga improves their team from what I've seen, but maybe not to the extent that Arsenal need.
Yeah, I agree with you. So then they signed Nuno Tavares. It was I think it was like £45 million from the Portuguese league. I think, was it Benfica they signed him from? Yeah. And admittedly, I haven't seen much of him, but that signing again really confuses me, because they've got Kieran Tierney, who, in my opinion, is one of the best left backs in the Premier League. Maybe not Robertson level, maybe not Shaw level, but he's up there with like the likes of like Luca Digne and players like that who I think are genuinely decent players. Do you think he's improved their team? Because I don't.
Not the starting 11. I mean, they have a better backup now, because Kolasinac is kind of done now.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I think that's the only signings they've made so far. I know they've let Willian go to Corinthians, which I've seen around like 10-15 Fabrizio Romano tweets about that same transfer.
Yeah.
I said in the group chat that I was in, I said, if I keep seeing Fabrizio Romano tweets about the Corinthians transfer. There's a kind of said something in the chat here. He said, unpopular opinion, Arsenal would be top 6 if they signed Aouar and Maddison and had Ollie as manager. Do you agree with that?
Well, Aouar and Maddison aren't going to leave the clubs they're at now, because they're in a better position than Arsenal. But
yeah,
I mean, I don't know, because Ollie, Arsenal's team, yes, you have Madison, yes, you have Awar, but there's still a lot of holes to fill in
Yeah,
that team. And Ollie is like, Ollie needs tools to perform at the
yeah,
level he's performing at now, I guess.
yeah.
So, yeah, I
Well,
don't think so.
Ollie couldn't do it, for example, with Andreas Pereira in the
No,
midfield, and Fred in midfield, for example. It like what in one midfield, not in one game.
right.
I recall when we drew 1-1 against Huddersfield in 2019, and that game, like obviously you can't really do it with them sort of players. So
Right.
I think from the top to bottom, Arsenal I've seen like for example DT on Arsenal Fan TV, and I know maybe it's not the best place to go, but I've seen him saying the club sort of stinks from top to bottom in the sense that it's not run right from the owners, and I'm not sure why the owners are still in charge, because they're not making profit from it, because the share price isn't going up because they're not in Europe, and they're not running it properly. So I'm not sure why they're still there when they've got a buyer there. They've got the owner of Spotify looking to buy them.
I couldn't tell you. I don't understand it either.
No, it's very, very confusing. But it is fun seeing Arsenal lose. I can't deny that. It's very fun. Thank you to you guys getting in the chat, by the way. I really appreciate it. I will get to your comments and stuff like that. And I hope you're all well as well. So we're going to move on to Aston Villa 1, Brentford 1. Did you manage to catch this game? Because I didn't.
Pieces of it, really.
Okay.
Pieces of it. I tell you what, Brentford look the part.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Brentford look the part, man. Like their play style reminds me a lot of Leeds in a way.
Yeah.
It's just that they seem a bit less prone to burnout mid-season so far, but they have a set way of playing, and their team shape is fantastic. It's so organized, and there's obviously a manager bounce, but it looks like a permanent manager bounce, if you get what I mean. And the way they play, it's fantastic. And
yeah, of course, I completely agree. I was watching the playoff final, the Championship playoff final. Obviously, it was the day of the Champions League final as well, and I sort of thought they played really well. I thought they played a very positive way, in the sense of what style of football they played. And Ivan Toney, I love his mentality. I mentioned this on one of my previous podcasts. Someone tweeted him and said, like, where do you expect to finish in the league? And he said, we expect to win the league, no matter how unlikely it is. We expect to win it, whether he was joking or not. The mentality to sort of aim for the sky is the best mentality to have, because, for example, you see Norwich, for example, and I thought they were already relegated from the first game, sort of thing. Like there's no hope for them. Do you know what I mean?
Right. I think Norwich. We'll get to Norwich in a bit, but
okay,
I agree with you.
Yeah. And as for Aston Villa, I actually thought they improved their team with the signings they made, despite signing Jack Grealish, and I've said this before. Yeah. But they've not started very well. They've not won yet. Oh,
they beat.
Yeah, they've not won. Oh, they beat Newcastle. Yeah. But they've not started very well. The defense looks very shaky. They're conceding goals left, right, and centre, and a few silly goals that I've seen they've conceded. I know Emiliano Buendia is settling in really well, in the sense that he's getting them goals and assists, but he doesn't look. They don't look great for some reason. Do you agree, or do you disagree?
With Aston Villa, since they've come back to the Premier League, was it 2 years ago?
Yeah,
have signed so many players in every window, and they underperformed bar last season, right? I think it's a matter of getting the team to gel and playing those players, because Axel Tuanzebe played last game, and I heard that he looked decent. I mean, but we expect that from him. And Leon Bailey hasn't played yet. I think he's injured, and yeah, I think it's just a matter of them settling in as well. And Aston Villa made a signing in January, Morgan Sanson. I have not seen him play. I've
seen him a few games, but only as a sub. And that was like during the lockdown that was here, like when there was no fans in the stadiums. I'm not sure if they signed him on a permanent deal or not. Do you know if they did?
I think they did sign him on a permanent deal, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't, because he's not playing, and I don't understand why.
No, he's definitely better than. I think they've got Marvelous. Is it Marvelous Nakamba?
Nakamba.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
He's like his ability. I think his ability is like probably the best at that club.
yeah.
But form wise, maybe Dean Smith sees something in him like we don't. Kind of like what we see in Fred and McTominay that Ollie sees and we don't. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Dia says here, I think it takes time to adjust to the new signings. I think Villa will have a good season too. Still, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think it takes time to like settle into a new country. Obviously, like we've just signed Cristiano Ronaldo, which we're buzzing about, but
Yeah.
it most of the time, even like with Edinson Cavani, it takes time to settle in, and it may take time because the country that they may have just transferred from may be in lockdown, etc. So it may take time to adjust and get to know where they're living. Do you know what I mean? And Leon Bailey should be back September the 11th. Paxton says. So that's interesting. He should do well. I think we were linked with him a few years ago. I think he's a good player, isn't he?
Yeah, when he was at Genk, we were linked to him, right?
Yeah.
I had said, like, on Twitter, I was going, like, mental over it because I was like, listen, screw Sancho. Before we signed him, I said, screw Sancho. I'm tired of McFred. Buy a defensive midfielder first. And I was saying, go for Leon Bailey if you can't go for Sancho. I've been saying that, but I'm glad we got Sancho anyway. But
of course. Yeah, we'll get on to Sancho soon as well because I want to discuss him. So Brighton 0, Everton 2. Did you manage to catch any of this game?
I did. And I tell you what, about Everton, Rafa, I said it was a bad move to go to Everton after you're a Liverpool coach.
Yeah.
And I was expecting him to get like cabbages thrown at him or something like that. But this game is just another case of Brighton playing good football but not being able to finish their chances or create anything concrete for their strikers. Like Everton didn't have that much of the ball, but that's what you expect from a Rafa team nowadays. They don't get much of the ball, but they're so organized and they're so precise.
Very well drilled.
Very well drilled, exactly.
Yeah.
So Brighton, great possession. They move the ball very quickly from back to front very quickly, but they just can't create any concrete chances, and they couldn't get past Rafa's like rigid team in this game.
No, I agree with you. I've been saying for a while now, if Brighton had a good striker, I genuinely think they'd be up there, maybe challenging for Europa Conference League, maybe Europa League at a push. I genuinely think their team is a good team, despite even losing Ben White. As much as we banter him, he was a very good like player for them, despite maybe not being great for Arsenal.
I think Ben White he provided that balance in the defense for Brighton, because Lewis Dunk was like the Maguire for us, except I don't think Lewis Dunk can pass as well. And Ben White was like the pass out from the back, and then it was between Dunk and Veltman, who were just a bit of both. Now you have Shane Duffy, who was partnered with Dunk 2 years ago, but Shane Duffy isn't that passing. He doesn't have that passing ability that Ben White has. Him and Dunk are very similar. So I don't know how that will work throughout the season as the season goes. But Brighton just need a striker, as you said.
Yeah,
Brighton need a striker because they create like a lot of chances, and their midfield is like so balanced so well with Bissouma and Gross and Trossard playing at attacking midfield sometimes. You know, all they need is a striker, man.
It's really good. Example. I really rate what's his name, Graham Potter. I really rate him. I would, if Ollie ever left, and personally I'm behind Ollie all the way. If Ollie ever left, I would like Graham Potter to be our manager. I really like his style of play, and I think he seems like a very good man manager as well. He manages to keep everyone happy, despite dropping players sometimes and making some tough decisions. Yeah, completely. So we're going to move on to Newcastle 2, Southampton 2 now. It's very interesting, this game. I watched some of it on Match of the Day, and I think they've started the season, despite losing 2 on the bounce, they've started the season very well in terms of the way they've been playing. Newcastle, obviously, they're known as a sort of very defensive team at the moment. Right. And I thought they've played really attacking. I thought West Ham just had too much quality for them in that first game.
Yeah.
Obviously they beat them 4-2, but they went very attacking. And I can't remember the last game, but they just played Southampton and they caught it. And I think Saint-Maximin and Callum Wilson are genuinely two of the most underrated players in the Premier League. They're up there with them.
True. Like, Alan Saint-Maximin won't settle for this for much longer, I don't think. Because if he said it on a podcast, I think he said they need to be challenging for top 10.
Yeah.
Not fighting relegation every year. And I think Steve Bruce is the problem here, because as we say, in the first half, all the time, from every game I've seen from Newcastle, they play really well and they're on the front foot and they're trying to create chances, at least for Callum Wilson. But in the second half, the drop is massive.
Yeah.
And they just sit back and try to hold on to it, and it never works.
It won't work if you try to hold on to a 1-0 lead with not a particularly great defense. Obviously,
right.
It's nowhere near United level or anything like that. I'm not saying it is, but it's probably a championship level defense, I would say. Would you agree with that?
I don't think they'd be championship level with a different manager.
Okay.
Because Jamal Lascelles, I mean, he's a great leader, but a lot of the Newcastle, he's one of my favorite players of all time, currently, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But he has dropped off since Rafa left. He has dropped off. And I think that's a result of Steve Bruce. Personally, with Fabian Schär is a great ball-playing centre-half, and his ability is insane. And Kieran Clark, I don't know much about him. I don't know much about him. And Fede Fernandez is getting old. So I think Schär and Lascelles are like the saving graces of that defense. And even they have dropped off. So
I know you're right. Is it DeAndre Yedlin? I think is his name.
Yedlin.
I know you used to play for Newcastle. What is it you like about him that really sort of you like he's one of my favorite players?
Well, his drive, and I love his pace. First of all, I love to see him when he goes down the wing, like from fullback, like when he runs up the pitch. I love to see it. And his drive, his determination, his work rate, it's just absolutely insane. And I love his personality. He's such a likable person, accompanied with the play style that I like, because I'm a fullback as well. So I try to base my game off his in some way, and I just love to see him play.
I've admittedly have not seen particularly much of him to judge him on how I rate him as a footballer, but I know you like him, so I'll take your word for that. So we've got Mohamed Elyounoussi scoring there for Southampton, and I think he was on loan at, was it Celtic?
Celtic.
And I'm not sure how he did. But I know that Southampton are going to need all the goals they can get this season with selling. They sold Ryan Bertrand. I think they're going to sell Yannick Vestergaard as well.
He's already sold.
Is he already gone? Yeah.
Leicester.
Leicester, yeah. And Danny Ings, which was like the quickest transfer of all time.
Right.
It was like within a matter of an hour. But it's a madness how they looked really good at the start of last season up until November. And then they sort of dropped off massively, and it didn't seem real, because they got the fewest points out of any team from November onwards. So they're lucky they had a good start, but for some reason, I really rate Ralph Hasenhüttl, because to lose 9-0 not once but twice, and then manage to get a dressing room happy after that and not be sacked is a massive achievement. I think it's a huge achievement to do. Do you agree with that?
I don't think so, because like, to get 9-0 twice, something has to be wrong. Something has to be wrong.
Yeah.
His play style, I think, is the reason for that, because like Leeds and like Brentford and like City to an extent, they press really, really high, and they press for 90 minutes and they're really fit. But not even halfway through the season, they're going to be tired, and he doesn't rotate that much.
No,
he plays the same midfield every game, the same defense every game, and the attack doesn't change. He doesn't rotate that much. So I think it's like almost, you kind of expect Southampton to burn out before January, because it kind of because the play style he plays and he doesn't change anything. You know, it's bound to happen.
Yeah, I've just seen Daft Bus there say, "Yo man, how's it going?" I'm good, thank you. I hope you're okay too. And everyone who's saying what's up and discussing, I appreciate all the comments in the live chat. Keep interacting and keep watching. I appreciate it a lot, and I hope you're enjoying. So we're going to move on to Norwich 1, Leicester 2. And Leicester haven't started particularly well either. Like starting with Leicester, like they got like battered by West Ham, and not just the scoreline. Like they got played off the park. I think. Did you manage to catch any of this game? I just watched it match of the day.
All right. This is gonna sound kind of controversial, but well, to Norwich fans, not yes, you scored a goal, but Norwich got relegated because they were trying to play pretty football without quality.
Yeah.
And they're relying on the same striker who got found out 2 months into the season when they were last in the Premier League. Nothing much has changed from them apart from they signed Brandon Williams and they signed Billy Gilmore and stuff. But Norwich, I don't see much hope for them. And as for Leicester, they're playing a bit of a makeshift team right now. Because they have Vestergaard, but Fofana is gone for months, and Amartey, he's a good squad player, but he's not a starting centre back that you need. He's a fullback, I think.
Yeah.
And playing Mark Albrighton on the wing, he's like 33, 34. I don't know. All I know is that he's been around since they won the Premier League.
He's definitely around that age, and it's very interesting because obviously Brendan Rodgers is a very, very good manager, despite managing Liverpool. I've got to admit that he's a very good manager. And Jamie Vardy didn't look particularly great last season, I thought, but he looks back to his best now. He's getting amongst the goals and the assists. He obviously scored and got an assist at the weekend against Norwich. So he looks back to his best, and he's obviously a great player. But in terms of Norwich, and you were saying like they got relegated without much quality, and I was looking at the team like it was like last week. And they had Todd Cantwell, I know he's still there. They had Max Aarons, they had Ben Godfrey, they had Emiliano Buendia, and that's 4 players. Even Tim Krul is quite an experienced, I would say, decent goalkeeper in the Premier League.
Right.
And I'm not sure, you look at that, and for me, I'm not sure how they got relegated. I think them players are good enough to stay in the Premier League. Do you agree with that?
With those 4 players, they all have another player that they all have another section of the team that has to help them, because Max Aarons can't be crossing into the box when Pookie can't finish them. Buendia can't be creating chances for strikers and other wingers if they can't finish them. Who else did you mention? You mentioned Buendia. Krul's defense let him down because Farke couldn't decide on what centre back partnership to go for. Of course, and I think Ben Godfrey's a very good player. He's obviously been a decent player for Everton. And Paxton says Leicester need a couple of players for rotation at the club. The bench isn't strong enough, in my opinion. I agree with that. Last season they had to rotate a lot because they got quite a few injuries, and they didn't look great for a while. And they did look still good, but not great. Not what we expect of Leicester, who have made like quite a few like really good signings.
No. West Ham 2, Crystal Palace 2. This game, I watched all of this game. I managed to catch it all, and it was a very, very interesting game. I just want to let you know as well, I don't know if you've just seen it, Daniel James to Leeds is almost done for 20 million plus add-ons.
No way.
Fabrizio Romano has just confirmed Manchester United and Leeds are in talks over Dan James' move, work in progress on final fee and add-ons. It's going to be a permanent deal if completed, and then someone else has said 20 million plus add-ons. We'll get into that.
Whoa, okay.
But Crystal Palace, they've not looked great, have they? With Patrick Vieira taking in charge. Conor Gallagher, I actually rated him last season when he played for, I think it was West Brom he played for.
West Brom, yeah.
And he looked like a sort of like diamond in the rough in a sort of way, like a good player in not a particularly great team. And he got 2 goals for Crystal Palace and very, very well worked goals as well, I would say. But we have to get into the main man here, Michail Antonio.
Yeah.
He's going for Premier League Player of the Month here, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Michael Antonio has always had an agenda to prove people wrong, because everyone is saying, because remember, let's not forget, Michael Antonio was a fullback a few years ago. Let's not forget that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and like he's had his struggles with injuries and inconsistencies, and he's always like in every interview where they look at like the player ratings for FIFA or something, he's always saying, "Oh, I'm gonna prove you guys wrong. You know, I'm a good player. I'm just injured a lot," and he's doing it again this season, and he's going for it.
He did well. I thought, like on the season where David Moyes saved West Ham from getting relegated. It was, I think it was the season just when lockdown, like when football restarted just after the UK lockdown, the first lockdown, right. And he looked very, very good, very, very good. Saved them from relegation, and obviously they had a great season last season. It looks like a very, very good project that David Moyes is working on there, doesn't it?
It does. However, I think when the Europa League kicks in, they're gonna struggle. That's the Europa League schedule we know, unfortunately. Yeah. The schedule is mad. It's insane. And I don't know. West Ham fans will need to tell me, because I don't watch West Ham that much. They need a bench. I don't know how their bench looks. You know?
Yeah. I'm gonna look at their bench now. That their bench was at the weekend. Manuel Lanzini, Mark Noble, who's obviously a club legend for them. I think he's retiring after this season. Connor Coventry. I'm not sure how much about him. Alphonse Areola, Andrei Yarmolenko, who he's a decent player, but he's not anything special. Is he? He's not going to take Michael Antonio's place out of that team. No. Issa Diop, who I thought was good when what's his name, Ogbonna got injured last season. Yeah. Ryan Fredericks, I think he's decent, and Ben Johnson, who I think is decent, and Jamal Baptiste, who I've not seen much of. So I think the bench is decent, but I think they could still do with a Jesse Lingard, for example, take him off our hands.
I mean, please, David Moyes, if you're watching this, you're probably not. Please, he's cheap. Please.
He's a good lad as well. I know his family. I know a few of his family members. They live near there. He's a good lad. Yeah. His auntie lives near me. He's a good lad. Yeah.
David, come on. He revolutionized the midfield. Take him. But jokes aside, though, West Ham are building a really good project. In their team their starting 11 is set in stone, and you can tell who David.
The direction they're going in as well. Yeah. They look like they're gonna. Last season, I wanted them to get Champions League because I didn't want Liverpool to get Champions League, and because they just looked. I thought West Ham played really, really good football last season. I sort of associate the name of West Ham from when I've been growing up to very defensive football, like Sam Allardyce sort of football. Very, very bleak football, and they played really, really good football last season, and they still are. But they're undefeated. So if any West Ham fans are watching this, you're still undefeated. So
so you have something to cheer about for now.
Yeah, exactly. Liverpool won, Chelsea won. This is very interesting. Did you manage to watch this game?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
Very entertaining, despite only 2 goals in the game. Obviously, Mohamed Salah getting amongst the score sheet again. You've got Kai Havertz, who I actually want to ask you about as well. After the Champions League final, me and my uncle sort of came to an agreement after watching it in saying his form at the end of last season, he was sort of like an unplayable player in the sense that he was so good that it was very hard to play against him. And I think he's going to become one of the best players in the world in the coming years. Do you agree with that, or do you think he's just going to flop?
I don't think he's going to flop. I just don't know that it's unpredictable when you're playing for Chelsea, because at any moment you can just be benched for the whole season.
Out on loan.
Sent out on loan, for example. So I don't know, but he has the potential and the ability to do so. Let's not get that twisted.
Yeah.
He has a manager that understands him, though, because Lampard didn't understand him. It's clear. No. Because Tuchel, when he was coaching Dortmund, he had chances to watch Kai Havertz when they played against him, and obviously he sees something in him, because, personally, I think Ziyech, ability-wise, is better than Kai Havertz right now, ability-wise.
Okay.
But Tuchel obviously sees something in Kai Havertz and he's putting his trust in him, kind of like what Ollie puts his trust in with Luke Shaw.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so,
And it
Kai
paid off.
Havertz, it paid off. So Kai
Yeah.
Havertz has the ability to do it. And at the moment, I don't think he's going to be stopped right now unless something like drastic happens.
No, I agree with you there. I think like you mentioned Frank Lampard there, and I think when he was managing Chelsea, I think he sort of got quite overwhelmed with the amount of money they spent and didn't know how to use that squad properly, which we're hoping Ollie does know how to use our squad properly. Do you know what I mean? It's the sort of season for that. I have faith in him. I'm not sure. I know you think it's sort of like a make or break season for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, don't you? I've seen like a few of your tweets. Yeah. But the red card, let's get onto that. The rules are the rules, and the rules state that if you deny a goal scoring opportunity, you're supposed to you get sent off. That is the rules, and that's a fact. Whether people want to argue with that or not, that is a fact. But what is down to interpretation is whether his arm was in an unnatural position. To me, at first, it wasn't. Sorry, go on.
No. I was about to agree with you. To me, it wasn't in an unnatural position at first. And then I looked at it again, and the ball, yes, it bounced off his leg, but you see his arm kind of swings forward.
Yeah.
And it's you can't defend that. Like I said it on Twitter immediately. I said that's a penalty, but not a red. And I looked at it again. I'm like, he does swing his arm out in a way at the ball on the line, no less. So it's a red. Unfortunately.
It's a red card. I think it was a harsh red card, like I said, but it was a red card, and Reece James was actually having a very good game as well.
He was. He assisted, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He got the assist. Yeah, and what a header it was from Kai Havertz.
I did not expect him to score that.
No, I didn't. It went in like slow motion, didn't it?
Yeah. No one was marking him. No one was marking Kai Havertz, and people forget Kai Havertz is tall, isn't he? He's like 6 feet plus.
Yeah.
So I still didn't expect him to win the header over freaking Van Dijk and Matip, but he did, and it was a very good header. And it was a good goal.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's get on to Burnley 1, Leeds 1. I thought Burnley played really well.
Surprisingly.
They played really well in my opinion. And Chris Wood getting amongst the goal like the score sheet again. He managed to get 10 Premier League goals last season, which as a Burnley player, that's a very, very decent amount of goals to get.
Indeed, yeah.
And because like I always say, as a Burnley fan, you must feel like you're so like deprived of goals when you're watching it. It's like, where do the goals come from? You've got what's his name, Dwight McNeil, that's it, and he's a great player, but you've not got many great players around. But they played really well, and Patrick Bamford as well for Leeds, getting amongst the score sheet again. He's becoming a good player.
I had to close my mouth on Patrick Bamford because when he came back into the Premier League, I said he's played for Palace, Norwich, Chelsea, Middlesbrough, and scored like 1 goal for all of them. So I said, no way. And he's proved me wrong, and he's doing really well for himself. I'm pleasantly surprised.
He proved he proved. Like I don't know if you know who this guy is, but he's a YouTuber called HITC Sport, the Irish guy.
Yeah, oh my word.
He had to get a Patrick Bamford tattoo on his foot.
Yeah, because he said Leeds wouldn't finish in the top half or something.
Yeah.
And because
he proved him wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Because of his because Patrick Bamford wants to play for England and not Ireland or something like that.
Yeah.
So he got that tattoo, which that was insane. That was
yeah. He's a great YouTuber. If you do ever end up watching this, I know you won't, but if you do, you're a great YouTuber. So we'll get on to Tottenham versus Watford now, and then we'll get on to the United game. I didn't catch the game, the Tottenham Watford game, but I seen the goal. It was a very I know it was a free kick, but it was a very sort of scruffy goal. Like it was bad goalkeeping from Ben Foster. It sort of like the whole game went to a standstill in the sense that everyone just stood still and didn't expect that to go in. Did you see the goal yourself?
It was a free kick, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Far out.
Yeah, Heung-min Son, man. Like no one, I didn't expect that to go in. I kind of froze. I was like, I was hoping. It felt weird, but Heung-min Son, man, like, wow, that was a good free kick. I don't think Watford were ready for that, and I think that's going to be the story of their season. They're not going to be ready for a lot of things that are going to come their way. They beat Villa, sure, but Villa had no left back. Matt Target was just leaving the left flank open that game. So they had space. I don't think it's going to be like that for them for the whole season. They have a togetherness about them, though. They have like a certain togetherness about them, and they have a baseline to their team. But they're not going to be, a lot of their losses and draws and dropping of points this season is going to be down to them just not being ready for what's coming to them.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. I agree. Paxton says Watford looking like 16, 17 for this season for me. Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
I completely agree. We're going to get on to Wolves United now. And boy, this was a stressful game to watch, wasn't it?
I was angry.
Yeah, so was I. I was like angry and sort of like frustrated. Like you sort of like, we're not going to score here. We're not going to score.
I was fuming.
Yeah. We were lucky not to lose this game 4 or 5-1.
Yeah, I was at that point, because Goldbridge says this all the time, and that's not me following Goldbridge. It's so true. Ronaldo, Greenwood, Sancho, Rashford, Cavani, and, well, Daniel James is leaving now. Ahmad. In the defense, Varane, Maguire, Shaw, Telles, Wan-Bissaka. I said Varane already.
Yeah.
In the midfield, Fred and McTominay.
It's not great. And I'm not a player. I'm not a guy to sort of go in on a player like that and keep slagging the player off. But when a player's not good enough, the player's not good enough.
Exactly.
And the only hope I've sort of got is like Sir Alex Ferguson used to say it all the time. And I know you can't compare Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as a manager to Sir Alex Ferguson, but I'm comparing the sort of the mentality of what he was saying. He said you can always afford to like carry two players in your team, and the two players not be sort of great. For example, Cleverley and Anderson. How Sir Alex Ferguson won the league with them two in midfield,
right,
was unbelievable. Like it's an unbelievable achievement. I'm hoping that we can do that with Fred and McTominay. And I don't know if you've seen in the past hour, and I don't know if this is true, so like don't quote me on it. It's coming from journalists with only a few followers, like a few thousand. There's rumours that we're in talks with Leeds for also Calvin Phillips. I don't know whether this is true.
I don't think it's true, because Calvin Phillips is Leeds through and through.
Yeah, man. He's a Yorkshire, like he's from Yorkshire, obviously, which is where Leeds is.
He understands, like a lot of fans nowadays don't know the rivalry between United and Leeds because they haven't been in the league for 16 years. Calvin Phillips understands that. Like when we played against them last season, it came out that he drilled it into the dressing room like, hey, this is a big game. And I don't think we'll sign him. I don't think he's going to want to leave Leeds like that.
No, I don't. I just want to say, though, I'm going to touch on Mason Greenwood here. What a player. How Gareth Southgate hasn't picked him for the England squad is it's catastrophic. I don't know how to pronounce the word, or catastrophic.
Catastrophic,
yeah. But it was he's deadly in front of goal.
You can kind of see Mason Greenwood leveling up since he made his debut in Ollie's first season. He was a raw teenager in his first season. Like he was doing bare step overs and just like raw.
Yeah.
Next season, he is just slowly elevating, and I'm sure I criticized Ollie for the way he managed Greenwood like 2 seasons ago at first, because I'm like, just play the kid. But it's worked out.
It's definitely worked out. One thing I wonder about him though is, and I know like us teenagers in general, we don't tend to smile a lot when we're playing football or when we're just chilling out. But he never seems to smile a lot, and I hope he's okay. Like sometimes I say, I hope he's okay, sort of thing. He has come through a long way though, because I'm not sure if you heard about it last season at the start. His best friend committed suicide, and he was going through a lot then, and he was going through sort of trouble with his girlfriend as well. And he sort of come through that, and he's at the end of last season he came through, and I thought the game against Burnley on the day of the Super League proposals, remember he that's when he sort of stepped up, and he was amazing. He was amazing that day, despite me not being able to concentrate much on that day. And Raphael Varane got an assist yesterday.
It just tapped off his performance, I think.
Yeah, what a performance! I summed it up in my tweet on my thoughts on the game. I said, very tough game that was. Glad we came through. Dream debut for Varane, assist and a clean sheet. Aerially dominant, won't allow himself to be bullied. We struggled. We need a midfielder, but all in all, a good win from a very tough game.
Yeah, that spot on there, Kian, because I think a lot of there are fans that defend Lindelof. I don't know why. With Varane, even though like it showed, we had no midfield. Nobody was anchoring down that midfield. No one was shielding the defense. And when I saw how Varane handled Traore and Jimenez and who else was playing up front with Trincao even.
Yeah, they looked good as well, didn't they?
They looked good. Yeah, they looked so good. I was worried for Varane because I was just expecting slander left, right, and center.
I was expecting, you know, like when you've watched something happen so many times, the same situation happen so many times, and you sort of expect it. So when Varane gets bullied in the air, you sort of become to sort of accept it happens and like expect it to happen. Sorry, not Varane. When Lindelof. Sorry, I'm not slandering Varane there. I meant Lindelof. And I know Lindelof wasn't playing yesterday, but I sort of expected it to happen still for some reason, because of the amount of times it happened last season. And we're going to be fine in defence. I think we've got a great defence.
And we hired a defensive coach or something like that to like
Eric Ramsey.
No more zonal marking. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah, it's awful on corners, isn't it? It's terrible.
You know, I realize about Varane as well. He reads the game really well.
Yeah,
like, he intercepts so many passes. And what we've been crying out for is Maguire is slow. Maguire is like almost like Vidic. I'm not saying he's Vidic, but he's that type of player. Just the aerial dominance, the leader in defense and stuff like that. And Rio was the athletic one, the one that would cover for Vidic, Vidic's lack of pace. And I've seen that with Varane. Because when Traore dribbles past Maguire, Varane is there. Varane is there to cover, and Varane is there to catch up and hold off Traore, which is brilliant, which is what we want and what we need.
I agree. He's a Rolls Royce of a defender. Paxton's made a joke here and said, Phil Jones gave Varane some tips, don't worry. I'm not sure how he's still at the club.
Good vibes.
Yeah. I'm not sure what else he brings, but onto Wolves' midfield, I would have loved Ruben Neves. Ruben Neves.
I don't think he's coming anymore, though.
No, I don't. I know there's been like a Twitter trend of like, I think Neves Hive or something like that, and I'd love him to come in. I really would, but I doubt it happens. But if it does happen, God, I'll be glad.
They'll just have to shake hands on it.
Pogba
and Neves.
Yeah, definitely. But all in all, I thought it was a good win. It wasn't a thought-out win. We only had a few shots, and a very, very bad performance. But it was a good. We need to win them sort of games if we're gonna challenge for the title. And we broke Arsenal's away record. 29 games now undefeated away. That is an unbelievable record.
That is an achievement and a half. I won't lie.
Yeah, of course. And I know most of them games haven't been played with fans, but that's besides the point because exactly. And I'm enjoying having fans back in the stadium. I'm going to ask you about Ronaldo now.
Go on.
Me and my uncle were making some jokes before when I was walking to the gym. We were saying Ronaldo's going to learn something from Greenwood, and Greenwood's going to learn something from Ronaldo. But what's it like? It's a different time zone for you there. I remember you saying, but so for me, I woke up at 12 p.m. Here, so that would have been 6 a.m. there, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
On Friday, and I said this on Friday on this channel. Something felt very. I see Mark Goldbridge's tweet saying something could be happening with Ronaldo here.
Right.
And it felt very like something was going on, like the air. I don't know, something
felt off, didn't it?
Yeah. Something felt like people know something that we don't. And Rio Ferdinand tweeted like a gif of like laughing. So and someone said he's doing it for likes and retweets and interactions. And I said he wouldn't do that. Rio
doesn't need to do that.
He doesn't need to do that for a start. And he's one of us. He's a fan. He would have been hurting like we were all were when Cristiano. We thought he was going to City,
right?
And I watched Rio's video on it, and I'm not sure if you have. And Rio said he spoke to Ronaldo on the phone, and he said just basically say it ain't so, like say this isn't happening, please just tell me this isn't happening.
Yeah, like the Avengers assembled and just called him and
said, the gang got back together.
Yeah, you can't play for the enemy. Listen, no. Cristiano, you can't play for the enemy. You can't.
And no matter what we think of Ollie as a manager, like opinions differ. He does care about the club, and he said, didn't he, the other day? He said, when you play for Man United, you don't play for Man City. Right. Especially in these circumstances. I know people could say Dennis Law, although Dennis Law played for City before he came to us. And Andy Cole, Peter Schmeichel. There's quite a few. It's different because City are challenging for the Champions League and / European Cup or whatever, and they're challenging for the Premier League and all trophies that they're in now, and they weren't in them times. So it's very different.
Nowadays, it will feel like any United player who goes to City now, it will feel like, United aren't winning anything, so I'm going to go to the enemy just for the sake of trophies rather than being at the club. Yeah, that's what it feels like now.
Yeah, and basically, Rio was saying Sir Alex Ferguson had got on the phone to basically Joe Glazer. He said he got on the phone to the owners, but who he means is Joe Glazer, doesn't he? And he basically said, "You cannot let this happen. Like if you let this happen, this is unforgivable." Yeah. And I think if it would have happened, I think Sir Alex would have been Glazers out and got on board with us, and I think at that point it would have been over for the Glazers. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, once Sir Alex is against you, one of the most, if not the most influential person in United's history. Yeah, you know, if he's against you, you gotta go. Like, you gotta go anyway. You have to
not
go
got
anyway.
A chance. Like you don't stand a chance. No. Not at all.
Because most of these pundits I'm saying now are saying, oh, but the Glazers are investing in us. Yeah. Whatever. Fine. They're stupid, some of them. Once they see Sir Alex Ferguson turn on them publicly, that's when I think it will turn most heads who are on the Glazer side for some reason.
Oh yeah. Well, for me, like obviously, I'm not on the Glazers side. I want the Glazers out as much as anyone else. Yeah. I'm gonna give like a different perspective here in the perspective of, for example, me and my uncle. So we've been going to the United matches since 2012. We've had a season ticket since we won our 20th title, and that is like a massive part of my life. And admittedly, I'm gonna admit it. Like I've struggled with mental health, as we all probably have in this chat and in this live stream. And football, especially during the pandemic, it made me realize it's the one constant that I need to remain in my life. Football, obviously, we're all involved. I assume most of us are involved in football Twitter that are watching this, and as much as it can get very toxic at times, interacting with people that have the same interests as you, basically all day, it really does help. And it does, and if I didn't go to the games and have a laugh with people, make some new mates, obviously watch the game, love seeing United, etc. Right, it would really affect my mental health, and people can say that's an excuse for you funding the Glazers, and for me, and then I always say, if you've got Sky or BT, you're funding the Glazers
them anyway. Exactly,
because the TV money is funding the Glazers.
It is like you watch United games, but you don't go to the matches because it's funding you're funding them anyway when you're watching them. I am sorry. I want them out, but I'm not gonna stop watching the matches.
I can't stop watching. I would have stopped watching the matches if the Super League had happened. Yeah. But I can't stop watching them or going to them. For me, it means too much to me as it does to you, obviously. And I know, like, you're in a position where you can't go to every single game or every single home game, but you wake up at like 6 a.m, for example, to watch the match. Exactly. At 12:30 here on a Saturday, which will be 6:30 a.m. there on a Sunday, on a Saturday. It would be massively it would be massively like ignorant of me to call you a fake fan. Do you know what I mean? Or funding the Glazers. I appreciate like all the fans. Do you know what I mean?
Any way possible, if you support United, because United, a lot of fans nowadays think you have to be from Manchester, you have to be from England to support Man United. No, you don't. It's a global thing.
We're one of the biggest, one of the biggest, if not the biggest club in the world.
Exactly.
An estimated 1/7 of the Earth's population, I think it was, a study was done or a survey was done like that support Manchester United.
That is insane.
Insane, unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
So it should never be a case of because you're not from Manchester, because you're not Mancunian, you're not a United fan. No. Like, that's not true. You choose to support United, and once you have a passion and love for the club, and as long as you're not a damn plastic, you're a fan.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Even like, for example, the like what people call casual fans that only watch. Let's say if United got to the Champions League quarter final against Barcelona, my mum would say, my mum may watch that game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even the casual fans really help in the sense that we're all fans of the club. We all want the best for the club. No matter whether you watch every game or you don't watch every game, or you go to matches and you don't, we're all fans of the club. And I did mention this because I seen someone on Twitter today, and I didn't interact with them. I sort of just left it for this podcast. Basically say you don't go to every game, so you're not a real fan, or something like that. And I do go to every game, but it doesn't mean I don't go to every game. I go to every home game, but I don't mean I don't think everyone else is a real fan.
Right.
I'm interacting with people across the world on Twitter. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Across the whole world that are fans. People support City. Like, well, not many people support City, but people support City in different countries. From what I've seen, whether they're plastic or not, I don't know. But I'm taking.
Man. Here in Jamaica, like everyone supports everyone. You have United fans, Chelsea fans, Arsenal fans for some reason, City fans. So it's a global thing. It's not just subjected to England or wherever your favorite club is.
No, not at all. I'm just going to ask you here: Are you looking forward to the international break as a break?
Not really.
I'm not. I think it really disrupts the start of the season, the flow of the season.
Football just started, man. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know why it's there in that time. They could put it another time.
It could at least give us a proper month of football first.
Yeah, exactly. Is there anything you wanted to ask me or anything like that?
Who's your first choice for CDM apart from Ruben Neves?
My first, I'll go with realistic, and then I'll go with non-realistic.
Realistic, go on.
So realistic, I'll go with. Let me just think about it. I'll go with Camavinga because he's 18. I know he's like people say he's box to box. He's only 18, so he could like be molded into that position. Non-realistic, Declan Rice. What about you for non-realistic and realistic?
For realistic, I want Yves Bissouma. Like, I really want Bissouma, man. Okay. Like he looks definitely great player. Exactly what we need for a price that is payable. Because if we were gonna pay what 25-30 million for a 31-year-old Kieran Trippier when we don't need him, in my opinion, we can pay 30 million for Yves Bissouma right now.
Yeah,
he moves the ball from back to front, which is what we need. He's a great passer. He reads the game really well, and he's a specialist in tackling. He's good at it, and he's good at all those things. Non-realistic, man. Fuck it, I'll go for Casemiro. Why not?
Casemiro, okay, that's an interesting choice because it's very it's very like right now it's sort of outside the box because Real Madrid's team and like they're not the Europe's best team right now. Obviously, the Premier League is very dominant right now. But he's had a very, very good career. He'd be one of the most decorated players like in the accolades that he's got of all time in what we've bought. And it's been a crazy but frustrating summer, I would say, and a good summer as well, because Varane and Sancho, I felt weren't enough. We had to get at least one more in, and maybe even another one in now. But getting Ronaldo, and more importantly, stopping City getting Ronaldo, for me is one of the most important things.
That was one thing that had to be added on the bucket list, because for me,
Yeah.
I think what Ollie loves strikers. I think we know Ollie loves strikers.
Yeah.
So Ollie probably loves strikers more than his own kids. So, you know, he you had Sancho top of the list, and you had Varane, and then I don't know what came next after that. We were juggling between the idea of a CDM. It was obvious that we wanted
and a right back as well.
A right back. It was obvious we were considering that, and we heard so many striker links. We were linked to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Haaland will never go away for us, and of course there was always the idea of Ronaldo returning. And when Ronaldo was supposed to go to City, that kind of just went up the bucket list, saying, okay, screw everything else.
Yeah,
he has to come to us, not City.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. It could not have gone to City. It would, like we say, it would have broke all our hearts. Paxton says, for me, as it stands, we've had a 7.5 out of 10 transfer window. If only we get a CDM, it would be near on perfect. For me, I'll keep that up on there. For me, I would say, purely because, like I've said, we've stopped City getting Ronaldo, and we've got Ronaldo. I would take it up to a 9.5. What about you?
Nah, fam, I'm going to a 7.
Okay.
7 for me. You know why? Because we were fine. A lot of us would say a striker isn't a priority. We were fine without Ronaldo, but we would take him back, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, what we need, especially CDM, we needed a centre back, a quick one at that. We needed a right winger. Ronaldo was a dream. Like, okay, please make it happen, but make sure you sign the other positions that we need. And without a defensive midfielder, we're not winning anything.
I do agree with you there. I do agree. For me, I know I'm extremely I'm on the extreme side of positive most of the time, unless something serious happens. I'm on the extreme side of positive in terms of football. Anyway, let's just put it that way. Definitely. I completely agree. I completely understand that it can be a 7.5 or a 7, for example. But for me, like I said, the most important thing, the priority on, if you would have said, if I would have said to you on Thursday night, let's say, the priority, you either stop Ronaldo going to City and we get Ronaldo, or Ronaldo goes to City and we get a CDM, what would you have gone with?
Wait, repeat your question.
So Ronaldo goes to City and we get a CDM, or we get Ronaldo and we don't get a CDM.
Oh my word! Why'd you put me on the spot? Nah. That's evil, you know. Nah, man. I can't have Ronaldo going to City.
No,
we need a CDM, but I'm sorry, I can't. Because then, right, Ronaldo scores against us, and then what?
And City would feel like they've got one over on us. It would be. I really thought that City would have got Ronaldo, but I thought the final nail in the coffin of them getting Ronaldo. Surprisingly, I thought this was the Benjamin Mendy story. I'm not going to go too deep into that story because I don't know whether he's guilty or not guilty, etc.
Yeah.
But for City, when City are a club based off of marketing campaigns to hide what their owners are, I'm going to say allegedly doing. The Mendy story is a PR disaster for City. So they've just had to suspend him, haven't they?
Yeah, so they had to. I see what you mean, because with that story happening on the same day, I think they were rushing to get their Ronaldo deal done. It's like, okay, we need to lift the mood of the fans now. We need to take that attention off of that story. So they were just trying to get Ronaldo in quick and fast. But for once, the Glazers said, no, we'll do the right thing.
Yeah, for once. But I'm not accepting any of the pundits saying like this is a gift from the Glazers.
No.
I can't accept that, because I can't, even when I do go to Old Trafford, I sort of get a little bit emotional. I think a Super League would have been played here. I can't it disgusts me.
The Glazers don't deserve anything. I'll applaud them. Good job. You did the right thing, but please go now.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Let this be your farewell.
I always have a dream of Elon Musk buying us the seats in the Old Trafford being Tesla.
Oh my God. Could you imagine?
It'd be unbelievable.
That would be unbelievable.
It would.
Don't sell me dreams. That would be unbelievable.
Yeah, it would be great. It would be an unbelievable but unbelievable dream. Dia says, I actually like a Donny McTominay pivot. It's pretty balanced. Thoughts? What do you think about that?
Right now, if we're not gonna sign a DM, I would personally want to see McTominay start. I'm not his biggest fan, but he McTominay has the body to be a CDM. He's
Yeah.
built like a CDM, but sometimes in his head, he doesn't make the right decisions, and I don't think he has the ability per se to be a CDM.
I think he's more of a box-to-box player.
Exactly.
It was very clear that he was a box-to-box player. And I think against, I don't know if you remember, we lost to Newcastle 1-0 and he played CDM. It was the game when it was the game in October in 2019. Yeah.
I cried at that game. I cried at that game. But
yeah, it was very frustrating.
I see what you're saying, because Ollie thought that McTominay was going to be the lad to hold down the line for us, and he gave him that responsibility. And I even think McTominay doesn't want to play there, because he knows that that's not his best position.
I agree with you.
But Matic is our only out and out CDM, but his legs are gone.
And he's old,
His legs are gone. He takes way too many touches in his own half before he passes the ball nowadays.
I agree.
And Fred, but one time, forgive me, one time I said Fred, I would love to see Fred over McTominay. I take that back wholeheartedly. I'm sorry.
You've got to be able to pass a ball.
Yeah, you have to pass the ball.
And I was saying, with me and my uncle, we were discussing something on the way to the gym. When Fred's playing, obviously we're all slagging him off, saying he can't pass, etc. But then, so I praised him yesterday when he completed a good pass, and I got a lot of I got some sort of people saying that's what he should be doing, and it made me really think about that, and it not just think about it for 5 minutes. It made me sort of think long and hard about that, and think we're actually praising him for doing the basics because of how bad he is.
It's kind of like what Keno always says: do your job.
Yeah,
it's his job.
Yeah, exactly. I'd love Roy Keane on my podcast, to tell you.
Roy Keane is my favorite player of all time. So I as much as I don't agree with much of his opinions, he always says, just do your job and do it well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all he says. And that part is right, because all Fred needs to do is pass the ball out to Bruno or the attackers or something. Pass it from back to front. Don't pass it back to the center backs. They gave it to you to transition us into the next phase of the attack. That's his job.
I tweeted yesterday, I don't know if you've seen it, about Fred. He like I said, 3 things are guaranteed in life. I said life, taxes, and Fred standing over the ball for a free kick every single time.
Fred can't shoot. I don't know where he gets it from.
Every single time he stands up for a free kick, it's madness.
I don't understand. I'm like, one time I'll never forget. I think it was a Europa League game. I can't remember which one. And him and Telles were on the pitch together. And Fred went and stood over the ball before Telles did. I'm like, move out the way.
Yeah.
Move out the way. If there's one thing Telles can do, it's take a free kick. So get out the way.
Agreed. I agree with you. I'm gonna put you on the spot once more here. I've only it's not a football question. I just want you to say one positive thing that has either happened to you this week, or one positive message, just to say, because just trying to add some positivity into my videos.
Well, my huge I don't even know what's been happening for me this week. My best friend came and spent a few days with me, and it was good to see him again, because we haven't, because of COVID, and we've had this, Jamaica's had a lot of lockdowns and stuff. To see him again for just a few days in person was actually really refreshing and just a nice thing. So as for a positive note, to everyone who's watching this, don't take anything for granted. You have your family, you have your friends, you have someone that's close to you. You cherish them, and you cherish every moment with them, and you never miss a beat with them, because you never know when it can all be gone.
Even if you disagree with them, even if no matter how much, because families argue, that's what happens. Friends argue, that's what happens. But always remember that you love that person. Do you know what I mean? Or you love that thing, like the bond or whatever it is. So always appreciate the people in your life. That's one thing I've definitely learned.
Exactly. Me too. COVID
Yeah.
taught me that. Like,
Yeah.
before I used to take a lot of things for granted before COVID, and I'm saying, oh, I'm not taking anything for granted. COVID taught me that in a lot of ways, man.
Yeah.
And now I just cherish every moment with those you love. That's all.
Yeah, I agree. And I just want to say thank you to you guys for tuning in. I've seen a lot of live chats today, and you are all discussing with each other as well, more than the past few streams. So thank you to you guys. Make sure to leave a like. Follow Chris's Twitter. I will leave your Twitter in the description if you want me to.
Cheers, mate. You can leave my YouTube channel in there if you'd like as well.
Yeah, it isn't currently obviously as the live stream, but I will edit it in a few minutes and put it in. And make sure you leave a like. Follow my Twitter, which is scrolling across the screen there. And I hope you enjoyed. Thank you. Have a great evening as well, and have a great day to you, Chris. Because I know it's like 1 o'clock now, isn't it? Or is it? Yeah, 1 o'clock.
It's 12 midday.
Oh, 12. Okay. Yeah. So have a good day, mate.
Yeah, you too, mate.
Thank you. And this has been Kian, and that's been Chris from Football Obsession, and we're out.